Hey guys, we're going to be taking Mona from Avantech through the self-valuation of her business today using the Emanda App. So thanks for joining us, Mona.
Thanks for having me, Pete.
No worries. So the process is straightforward. We're going to sign you up, and that means getting some security credentials out the way. So let's do that. And what we're really going to do today with the self-valuation is get some of the data from Mona. We're not going to be doing the validation, the proper validation today, send me through the books, but we're going to give you people an indication as well how simple it is for you to be able to get an idea of what the baseline of your business value is.
Yep.
So chucking in some of your details, what do you want me to put here? CEO, I'm guessing, of the company?
Yes, I
That's
am
great.
the CEO.
And I'm just going to put this number for now and an address, which is great. Yeah. Awesome. And that's pretty much how fast it is. Now, as you go through, and I'm sure you can take the time and run through this yourself again at some point. But the application's got the ability to take you through and give you a list of all the different things you'll need when you go through this. So what you see here as well is, and hopefully you've got access to all of this, is all the things that you should have available to you as you run through the kind of self-valuation. Yeah, so most of this should make sense to you.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we'll keep going through. So obviously we need your ABN, and we do a bit of a check to make sure that this is actually you, and it is, and it comes up with Avantech, which is great. Give it your address and a bit of a mission statement and vision statement. Do you have a mission and vision statement?
Yeah, so I mean, we bridge the gap between clients and technology. We bridge the gap between businesses and technology.
Nice.
So that's one of the ones?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, of course. Yep. Look, this gets used later on in a more official report. It's not critical for your self-valuation. We're going to put you down, obviously, as you're a technology consulting firm. Yeah, it's probably the category you'd fall into. Yep. So do you have your annual revenue?
Yes. Yep.
Let's put that in. Great. Okay, let's go to the next one. So the next one is also, obviously, in line with that, how much of do you have an understanding of the amount of the revenue that's recurring?
Well, recurring is, I don't know how to answer that because we are project-based.
Cool, so
yeah.
Yeah, okay, so
maybe about 15% of our business is recurring.
Yep.
But the rest is all project-based.
Yeah, understandable. That's good. Great. Pretty common as well. So you've been in operation how many years?
4.5.
Yeah, great. And do you have the information then on even average in terms of what the annual revenue has been for the previous years? So we'll go back as much as 3 years when doing the self-valuation. Do you have access to the last 3 years?
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Let's put that in.
Yeah, I've actually spoken to my accountant to get these numbers.
Yeah, that's great. And that's really good because coming even at the back end of this week, we're moving through staging at the moment. Inside of the production release that we'll have coming, probably next week, you'll be able to invite your accountant to just come in directly and put those numbers in for you.
Yep.
So if you ever get stuck in any of this, we've got an ability to kind of chat through, but you can go and do that. But let's move on through. So you gave me to do this number before, which was the average gross margin. I'm going to guess it's probably around that as well,
yes.
From some of the things that you're saying. And you also had this from the accountant as well for the average profit, which is really good. So customer retention, you said before as well, it's kind of potential of customers that you keep through. You're kind of project based.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a bit interesting. I know you were saying before it's probably more than 15%, so we can capture that. And I know obviously you may have some repeat customers, but they may be a little bit more one-off.
Yep.
What's the kind of average do you have the average lifetime value and cost of acquisition?
Average lifetime values, the projects can take anywhere between 3 to 8 months.
So how much will they actually spend with you? 10K? Is their average, or if they're doing development, so it's more like 25K?
It's more than that.
And cost of acquisition, what would you spend on marketing to clients?
That's something I don't know.
3,000, I reckon.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. And
I went through an extensive exercise with my accountant the other day, and I was like, oh. He's just doing all these, and so I'm like, yeah. And then he goes, you can't do that. No, you can do this. So yeah.
I'm glad you've got an accountant taking you through that, and we'll definitely be adding that to the video in case they're watching. Okay. Average spend, we had a look at that, yeah?
Yep.
So that's fine, because it's probably the same in terms of what you've got for your lifetime.
I think, if you just divide that, the revenue over...
how many clients?
Clients would be, that's, I don't know, have that number. That's right.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe.
I think based on what you were saying, I'm going to go probably 40.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's do
and
that.
don't get me wrong, you do the exact part of this, plus also we end up checking Xero and everything else through self-valuation and your CRM. So we pull all that out in the official one, which is good. And like you said, the kind of contract length, they're kind of, whilst the length is the project for what you do with a client, it's more once off. You're not trying to have them as recurring. No. Yeah, so we'll do that. which is awesome. And the addressable market, now you can get these stats. It's definitely something in your industry we already know in that sort of space inside of Australia. It's probably about anywhere from a $1 to $10 billion industry.
Yep.
So we put that data in.
Yep.
And now, an interesting one, barrier to entry. And I'll pose it, I mean, everything's written here, but for the purpose of the video, I'll pose it to you is what's the kind of, barrier to entry? Will it take someone to come and do what you do, in the industry? Would it take them 1 month to copy what you do, 3 months to copy what you do, 6 months?
I reckon more than that.
Yeah? Okay,
Yeah,
so you feel
yeah.
like you've got a high barrier to entry there.
Yeah.
Yeah, great, cool.
Because we're not we do very highly customized stuff. And
development and capabilities and tech. Someone can't just walk in with that.
No.
Yeah, great. And experience in it. That's the other part
Correct.
as well. And I've worked with your team, so it's actually quite a lot of experience there.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Now, secret sauce, and we look at, something special that you own or agreements that you've got. So it might be relationships, that you have or IP that you've created to roll out. With the self-valuation part of thing, this is definitely something as well where we say, ask your accountants if, you want to get the specifics. So the secret sauce session is both on whether or not you've got any material assets or any kind of special agreements or arrangements which others would buy you purely for that. Do you have a government affiliation that others can't have, things like that. But do you have any kind of assets that you would?
Yeah. So I've got a company car. The
Yep.
company owns the car. Yep.
Okay, great. So we'll put the value of that in here. That's great. And then another question was pretty much for especially a younger age company is, how much time would you say as a founder, and you're the sole founder, right? Mm-hmm. Would you spend in the business versus on the business?
Ooh,
Does a business run without you?
no.
Not at this stage.
Not at
Yeah,
this
this is the
stage.
growth kind of area. At this point, needs me.
Needs
So really, 100% of it you needed. Yep.
Correct.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. When I click this button, this will give you what the company would be worth. Yeah. So we'll hit the button. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. That.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reaction we wanted to capture. But you will see something else. Notice the book score.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the book score is where we say there's for your industry and the questions and the way you're kind of looking at that. There's a total score in the industry that we've done. It's a weighted score, some special sauce and secret that we have behind the scenes. You scored 27 though, which means in your industry, what you could be doing is it's the where could I've gone stronger and the differences. So I want to show you that quickly.
Yeah. What is a good book score like?
Yeah. So to give you an idea, if you're kind of midway inside of the industry, then that's kind of like where the industry would expect a business like yours to be.
Yep.
If you fall below that, it's probably some areas you could tune. It's not necessarily bad. It's just you may have approached business a different way.
Yep.
So you don't care.
Yep.
Yeah, sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yep.
If you go higher, it means you've kind of done better than the industry standards in that. Yeah. So I'll show you when we get to the dashboard. So if you go and look in a dashboard now, which is good, and you can see the multiplier that you got for your business as well, based on EBITDA, for yours. And if you go and look at the industry stats, you can start to see here where you it's the industry versus company. So for instance, you can look here and say, great, that's what the industry in your size segment is kind of on average doing. Now, you're earlier on in the game. So that's one of those ones where you got a lower score, but you're like, well, it's going to come with time.
Yep.
It's not one that could kind of improve because anything is happening in a bad way. Over here, though, you actually hold a very high barrier to entry where other businesses, it's a little bit easier for them to get into this game.
Yep.
So you scored better in
Yep.
that. And that scoring affects the multiple that you get
Right.
and therefore the value that you get based on what the business is worth.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of different things into it as well around, customer retention and how these things actually affect the overall value of the business at this point.
Yep.
So if everything that you gave me and all the information was correct, this would be correct inside of what the industry would decree your business is.
I gave you all the information.
That's great. Everything I said was
Everything
great.
I said was right.
Yeah, great. So as we know, we've now run through the self-valuation with Mona and Avantech, and she's smiling, which means it's very good. And obviously used as well as more of a baseline, to look at the value of the company and the growth that Mona's going through, which is awesome. How did you like the app?
Great. Very easy, simple, and straightforward. Yeah. And so much that I had didn't think of.
Which is great. Okay, awesome. And I guess, is there something before you use the app that you now kind of know about the company?
Yeah, especially the averages against the industry. And yeah, that was great, sort of eye opener.
Yeah, awesome. And do you think there's anything you would do now that you've kind of used the app? Would it change your kind of approach to anything, do you think?
Yeah, I think things where I lacked or I am behind from industry average, those are the main areas of focus that I will be looking at.
And I think as well, whilst like, I wouldn't even look at it as behind. I think the interesting thing was when you're earlier stage, in
Yeah.
your business, you're like, I'm not there because I haven't got it to that point yet.
Yeah.
Which generally you're like, great. So over time, that will grow and therefore you'll get higher multiples and better value.
Yep.
But it's great. Thank you so much for taking the time to look at it, seeing both the business value and your Emanda book score, which I'm sure you'll now challenge yourself to beat
Yes.
using the app. And do you think you'll use the app again?
Absolutely, I will. And I'll show it to my accountant as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, soon enough, he'll be able to just log in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. All right. Thanks so much again for the time. It was awesome.
No problem. My pleasure.
Thanks.